In the Big 12 this week, we actually have the first game on Thursday night. So 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. West Virginia travels to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. West Virginia is a 2-point favorite. Over-under is 52. Who you got winning this game?
I don't know. I'll go West Virginia here. I mean, I think it's significant that they're considered favorites on the road, and Virginia Tech's just kind of listless at the moment. This is not the Virginia Tech I grew up with, but that was a long time ago at this point, so those days are long gone. But, yeah, I'll go Virginia Tech. I mean, I think they do have a little something after getting the blowout win last week, kind of rebuilding their confidence. JT Daniels is a good player, and they've got some weapons, and, you know, they're not a bad team by any stretch. I think they're going to give some teams some runs in Big 12 play, but I just think that unfortunately for them, they ran into Kansas and had to be the first example of an improved Kansas team. And, you know, we'll see how that betters them moving forward. But, yeah, I'll go West Virginia here in probably a tight game.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost two really close games against Pitt and Kansas. I don't think they're a bad team. Virginia Tech, on the other hand, lost to Old Dominion. West Virginia is going to win this game. I think West Virginia will win it 34-20. I think they win it fairly handedly. Again, JT Daniels, Bryce Ford-Wheaton, that's a very tough combo to guard. I think West Virginia gets back to 500, which they need to. They absolutely need wins at this point. Next game up, a really fun one. 11 a.m., ESPNU. TCU travels to SMU to take on the Mustangs. TCU is a 2-point favorite. Over-under is 70.5 points. What you got?
Golly, I mean, before last weekend, I would have said SMU, but then they turn around and they get beat. So, yeah, I mean, I expect a track meet for one between these two teams. Dykes and Lashley, that'll be a good little coaching, matchup. I've watched TCU and I've watched SMU, and I don't really see a lot of difference between these two teams in the limited viewing that I've had. But I guess TCU should beat SMU. Like on paper, that should be the way things go. So I'll go TCU, but I think this could be one heck of a shootout. And if it's not, like if one team ends up winning convincingly one way or the other, then that's going to be really interesting to break down and figure out exactly why and what that means.
Yeah, so I don't like that TCU has played Colorado and Tarleton
They played
State
some awful
so far.
teams, yeah.
They haven't played anyone with a pulse. SMU lost last week, but it was on the road to an undefeated Maryland team, and they only lost by 7. I think SMU is going to win this game. I think there's revenge factor here with Sonny Dykes coming back to SMU for this game. They might actually get a crowd there because of that. And so for that reason, I think SMU wins this game. I think it'll be close, though, something like 38-31. But I like SMU to get the win. Next up, a surprising battle of unbeatens on FS1 at 11 a.m. Duke travels to Lawrence to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas, 7.5-point favorite. 66.5 is the over-under. Who you got?
I think Kansas just because they can score more, but, man, Mike Elko's done a good job with Duke early on. I guess I'll go Kansas just because, again, they'll probably just win a shootout, but I'm curious to see how much of a shootout it actually becomes. And when it's not just points galore, kind of how does Kansas play, if they're not allowed to just run up and down the field. I think Duke might be able to do some of that and force them into some more trying times offensively. But, yeah, I'll let the Kansas Magic keep living. I don't think it's going to last, the length of the season. But I do think they're going to make a bowl game probably, or at least come very, very close to that, at already being at 3 wins. And, I'll go KU here in a tight game.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Daniels he's been playing fantastic. Probably the most improved player in the entire country. He's been awesome. Both these teams 3-0. I think Duke's going to have something for Kansas this week. I think there's enough tape on them. I don't think there's enough tape on Duke. Duke hasn't played a bunch of good teams. They won at Northwestern, though, so they have that win. But I just have a feeling that Duke's going to end Kansas's run here this week, but it will be a close game. I think they'll take this one 34-31, and like you said, I think they'll get a few stops, which is going to be key in this one. Next up, 2:30 on ESPN. Texas travels to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. Texas, 6.5-point favorite. Over-under is 60. Texas just knocked off UTSA. Tech just lost their first game of the year on the road at NC State. Who you got?
Yeah, this is another one of those games that if you were to ask me, I don't know, like Friday, my opinions, like every game I'm picking might be the opposite, honestly, because just as the week goes along, other things start to trickle into my brain. But I don't know. This one I think is probably going to stay Texas the entire time, and I fully expect a raucous crowd and Joey McGuire and company to throw everything at UT. But I do think UT's a bit more explosive. Definitely got a better offense, no matter who the quarterback is. And I think they're better defensively as well. So I'll go UT in this one, even though it's in Lubbock. If it was at night, maybe I'd go harder for the Red Raiders. But Donovan Smith just throws way too many picks. And, I'm not all in on Texas Tech just yet. But they are, they're playing hard. They're playing tough, and they believe in what they're doing. And that's going to get them a long way. But I think Texas is, kind of feeling themselves right now. And there's some reason to. It's not like the false reasons like Texas typically has. There's some reason for it. And Hudson Card, hey, man, I'm interested to kind of see how the quarterback position can hold up. But Quinn Ewers apparently practicing earlier this week, so they'll have options there. It'll be interesting to see what Texas ends up rolling out.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be back for the Oklahoma game. I'm betting. I don't think he plays this week, but you're exactly right. Here are the three factors. Texas Tech turns the ball over way too much. Texas Tech can't run the football, and Texas's defense looks far improved. And for all those reasons, I think Texas wins this game actually fairly easily. I think it'll be something like 31-20. I think they get the win.
Yeah, like I could flip the previous picks that we did by the end of the week, just because that's how I go back and forth. This one I'm not flipping. No, I'm sticking with this pick right here.
Even on the road, and it's hard to trust Texas. Trust me.
Oh yeah, but I'm sticking with them. I just put that in ink.
Yeah, I agree. Next game at night, 7 p.m. on Fox. Kansas State travels to Norman to take on Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 13-point favorite. The over/under is 53. This game lost a lot of shine because Kansas State just pulled off a terrible performance against Tulane. So now they're sitting at 2-1. OU is number 6 in the country right now.
Yeah, Oklahoma looks really good. They're balancing, Venable's defense with Levy's offense quite well. The familiarity there with Dylan Gabriel's certainly come in handy. And they've got some, guys like Marvin Mims. Mims is doing what he should have been doing last year. He's having a terrific season. They're so full of belief up there right now in Venables and what they're doing and the direction they're going and all of that. Give me Oklahoma in this one. K-State, though, has given them fits in the past, but I do think that they got kind of punched in the gut last week, and there's just not enough belief in Adrian Martinez at quarterback. It's like Deuce Vaughn or bust still, and Martinez was supposed to come in and give them this different dynamic to complement that, and I don't think we've seen that. And I think if anything in the passing game, he's remained hesitant because he's trying not to be old Adrian Martinez rather than just letting her rip and let loose. You know what I'm saying? I think he's trying to be perfect. And that's not going to get them anywhere. So that's only led to further problems. They're not as dynamic as I thought that they would be offensively. So, yeah, give me Oklahoma.
Yeah, they look like a 7-5, 8-4 team once again. Their defense is great. Their defense will give OU some problems. But like you said, with Adrian Martinez, they had a 4th and 1 or 2 in that Tulane game, and it was an option play. And he rolls left and stares at Deuce Vaughn and is like, oh no, I can't pitch this. I'm going to turn it over. Just keeps it and gets tackled in the backfield. It's like, dude, you got to pitch that earlier. Just clearly afraid and just not looking very good at all. Here's the problem. OU's going to take away their run game as best they can. Deuce will get his to a certain extent, but they're going to force turnovers from Adrian Martinez, and they're going to get after the quarterback. Oklahoma's been fantastic getting after the quarterback, and that's going to make Adrian Martinez's day absolutely horrible. So I'll take Oklahoma in this one, 31-14. I think they roll fairly comfortably in this game, even if their offense does have a few hiccups. Finally, the last game of the week, 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Baylor travels to Ames, Iowa to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State, 2.5-point favorite, 46 points is the over-under currently. Who you got?
I'm going Iowa State. They're at home, and I think that these two teams, all things equal, are probably pretty even in the long run. But I just think that the home advantage matters here, and I just don't like what I'm seeing from Baylor offensively right now. I know that Richard Reese gave them a nice spark, but I just don't believe Baylor's going to go in there and run the football on Iowa State this weekend. And if they can't do that, then I sure don't see any reason to believe they're going to go pass well enough on them to be able to win this game. So I think defensively they can hold up and hold in there, but I'm having a hard time seeing where the points are coming from, and I just don't have enough belief right now. I'll say that for them to score with Iowa State. So I'll go Cyclones.
Yeah, I don't think either team's scoring very much in this game, and I think the big point that I'm looking at is the fact that I think Hunter Deckers is going to turn the ball over. I think you're going to see a much more havoc-inducing defense by Baylor. You're going to see more schemed sacks. You're going to see more, I think, opportunities to force turnovers as well. I think they're going to take away the run game. And while I think Iowa State's defense is really, really good, I think that Baylor's offense is going to have some counters this week that maybe we haven't seen during the season. So as long as Baylor gets Ben Sims and Monterey Baldwin back, I think they're going to have enough weapons to compete in this game. I think their defense is going to play great. And I just have this sneaky feeling that Baylor's going to win the turnover battle and come out of Ames with a win. I got the score 23-20. I think the Bears find a way to finally get rid of some of those road woes and come up with a huge conference win heading into that big home matchup against Oklahoma State.